Hello everyone, this is Jay Surya and I'm here to teach you about precision rectifier in linear integrated circuits. Sounds interesting, right? Yes. Okay guys, let's get in and know about what is precision rectifier is. Before going deep into the concept of precision rectifier, let me explain you what is a precision rectifier is. A precision rectifier, in simple words, a circuit that is carefully designed to act exactly as a theoretically perfect rectifier. So let me break this definition into two. What do I mean by saying carefully designed? Carefully designed means in order to accomplish some goals, a normal rectifier configuration is altered by using an operational amplifier, few resistors, and few diodes. And this configuration acts theoretically as a rectifier. We already have a diode rectifier. Then why do we need a precision rectifier? So to answer this, let's get into the next slide. Here comes an interesting question, that is, why do we need a precision rectifier? Before answering this, let me explain you what is a half wave diode rectifier is. A half wave diode rectifier consists of an input signal, a diode, and a resistor connected in a single loop. And whenever the input signal goes to the positive half cycle, the diode is forward biased and this conducts, and the output is taken across this resistor, and this is the output waveform when the input is in the positive half cycle. Now when the input goes to the negative half cycle, the diode is reverse biased, so this does not conduct and this breaks the path, and the output voltage across this resistor is 0, and this is shown here. So likewise, whenever the input signal goes to the positive half cycle, we'll get an output across a resistor, and when it goes to negative half cycle, we won't get any output across this resistor. Do we really get this kind of rectified output waveform? The answer is no. Let me tell you why this happens. Now here is the drawback of a half wave diode rectifier, and this is a circuit diagram, and as you can clearly see, a diode is used, and basically a diode conducts only when the input voltage is greater than the threshold voltage, and therefore there will be a drop of 0.7 volts in case of a silicon diode across this diode, and the remaining voltage will be dropped across this resistor, and this is clearly seen in the transfer characteristics. And whenever the input signal is negative, that is a negative half cycle, the output is 0, and when it turns to the positive half cycle, the diode does not conduct. It conducts only after crossing this threshold voltage, and the rectification is possible only in this linear region. So whatever the input signal that is present in this region can't be rectified. And as you can see in the output waveform also, this black dotted line represents the input signal, and this red dotted lines represent the threshold voltage, and this blue line represents the rectified output waveform, and the desired result is this peak voltage, but what we got is this as a peak value because of this reduction of 0.7 volts. And where does this 0.7 volts create a big impact is whenever we are processing low voltage signals, like a signal whose peak value is less than the threshold voltage, that is 0.7 volts, then there the diode can't conduct, and we cannot use this half wave diode rectifier to rectify such low voltage input signals. But in case of high voltage input signals like 230 volts input signal, AC signal, there this won't make a big impact, and therefore the half wave diode rectifier has two drawbacks. One is its threshold the peak value of the rectified output signal is reduced, and this cannot be used in case of lower voltage input signals. At the start of the video, I told you about accomplishing few goals, and here are those two goals from the drawbacks of a half wave diode rectifier. And let us see how half wave precision rectifier accomplishes these goals. Now this is a circuit diagram of a half wave precision rectifier, and this uses an op amp, a diode, and a resistor, and the input signal is fed to the non-inverting terminal, and the output is given to the diode, and the resistor is connected to the ground. and this is negatively feedbacked to the inverting terminal. um, Now let's assume that the diode conducts, and if this diode conducts, here you can see there is a current ID passes through this, and if you apply KCL at this node, um, here you can see ID will be equal to I minus plus IR. This I minus goes in this path, and this IR drops to the resistor. And as we know that no current enters an op amp, so I minus is approximately 0, and ID will be equal to IR. And when ID is equal to IR, this the path of the current is the like this. It goes to the ground, and the voltage drop across this at this point is V01, and this V01 is given um, by this given in this equation, that is the difference the differential voltage in the op amp and multiplied by its open loop gain. And if we apply KVL at this point, this V01 will be equal to V0 plus this 0.7 volt drop across this diode. And plugging this equation to this, we can say the differential voltage input voltage will be equal to V01 by the open loop gain, and this V01 equals V0 plus 0.7 by open loop gain. And we know that an open loop gain of a op amp is approximately 10 power 6, and this value is approximated to 0. So this is approximated to 0 means V plus minus V minus is 0, and I can say the input signal equals the output signal. So this gives the linear curve for linear curve of the transfer characteristics, means rectification is possible in this case. So initially we assumed that the diode conducts. So now let's figure out when does this diode conduct. The diode conducts only when this input voltage is positive. So whenever the input voltage goes to the positive half cycle, the diode conducts, and the output voltage is exactly equal to V0. So that is figured out in the case 1, that is when the input voltage is positive and the diode conducts and the negative feedback loop gets closed, and the output voltage is exactly equal to the input voltage. Now let's get into the next case, that is when the diode does not conduct. When the diode does not conduct, this path breaks and this loop is also broken, and the voltage across this resistor is 0, and this is shown here. This is broken, and this the voltage the ground voltage will be exactly same as output voltage, and the case 2 is the input voltage is negative. So we assume that the diode is broken and the diode does not conduct. So when does the diode does not conduct? The diode does not conduct when the input signal is negative. So whenever the input signal goes to the negative half cycle, the diode does not conduct, and the output voltage is 0. And this is stated here: the input voltage is negative, then the diode does not conduct, and the negative feedback loop opens up, and V0 equals 0 volts. And what happens to the voltage drop across this at this point is V01 goes to the negative saturation because where as soon as the diode does not conduct, this becomes an open loop configuration, and even with a small input voltage, the output voltage can go to the negative saturation. And this is the overall output transfer characteristics of this half wave precision rectifier. Here you can clearly see whenever the input signal is negative, the output signal is 0, and whenever the input signal is positive, the output signal is exactly equal to the input signal. And how does this actually accomplish the goal? As you can see, in a half wave rectifier we had an threshold voltage drop, but in this case we don't have a threshold voltage drop. Let me tell you how this happened. Here, as you can see, the open loop gain of an operational amplifier is very high. So this 0.7 volts is eliminated, or I can say is vanished in this equation, and this output voltage will be, and the input voltage becomes equal to the output voltage. And this how this half wave precision rectifier accomplishes the goal of rectifying the input signal without a drop of 0.7, and we call this circuit as a super diode. And Okay, now let us look at the application of a half wave precision rectifier. A half wave precision rectifier is used for the demodulation of an AM signal. Um, this since an AM signal works in the low voltage region, a half wave diode rectifier cannot be used. So we use an half wave precision rectifier. Here's a circuit diagram. It has an input signal, a super diode, a resistor, capacitor, a filter, and the output is taken after the filter circuit. Now let's look at the working. So whenever the input signal goes to the positive half cycle, the super diode conducts and it charges the capacitor. And when the input signal goes to the negative half cycle, this super diode does not conduct, and this capacitor discharges across this resistor. So likewise, it charges and discharges, and this is used to demodulate the AM signal. As you can see, whenever the capacitor charges, it traces this path, and whenever it discharges, it goes like this, and it charges again, and it discharges, and it charges. Now, likewise, this demodulates the AM signal, and as you can see, there is a ripple factor that is imposed on this output waveform. So, in order to remove this ripple, we use a filter circuit which removes this ripples, and this is how a half-wave precision rectifier is useful in demodulating a AM signal. Though the precision rectifier could accomplish its goals, it also has some limitations. Now let's figure out what is the limitation in precision rectifier. Now as you can see, this is a 50 hertz input signal, and the output signal follows the input signal whenever the input signal is positive, and when the input signal goes to the negative half cycle, output signal goes to 0. And this is an ideal rectification, and in case of a 50 hertz frequency. But once I increase the frequency to 1 kilohertz, this output signal follows the input signal whenever it is positive. But when this input signal goes from negative half cycle to positive half cycle, this output signal takes some time to get back to its path and follow this input signal. So there is a time lag in this area. So this time lag becomes a big issue when we are processing a high frequency signals, because it leads to distortion. As it's stated here, an operational amplifier as a precision rectifier can't be used to rectify high frequency input signals because it distorts the signal. So this time lag is a big limitation in this precision rectifier. When Vin is greater than 0, the output of the op-amp, that is V01, goes to V0 plus 0.7, and when Vin is less than 0, V01 goes to negative saturation. As you can see in this graph, this blue line represents the input signal, and this green line represents the output of the op-amp, that is V01. So whenever the input signal is goes to the positive half cycle, uh, the output of the op-amp, that is V01, equals V0 plus 0.7, and this height is actually 0.7. And as soon as the input signal goes to the negative half cycle, this V01 drops to negative saturation, and again it goes to the again when the input signal goes to a positive half cycle, it gets back its path. So there is a lag in this time lag in getting back to its earlier stage. So the op-amp, so as stated here, when V changes from positive to negative, op-amp requires some time to come out of this saturation, and this time lag becomes a significant issue when we are processing and when we are rectifying an high frequency signal. It actually distorts the high frequency signals. So in case of high frequency signals, we cannot use this half wave precision rectifier. That's a drawback of this rectifier. Okay, now let us see how this limitation is eliminated by designing an improved half wave precision rectifier. So the improvements that we are seeking are to prevent the op-amp from going into saturation, because this leads to the time lag, and to increase the operating range of input frequency. Yes, and this helps in processing high frequency signals. So in order to accomplish these two goals, we are doing some changes in the half wave precision rectifier circuit by adding another feedback loop with a diode. Now let's look at the circuit diagram in detail. There is an input signal and we have two resistors R1 and R2 and two diodes D1 and D2 and an op amp and an output resistor through which the output signal is taken. And let's look at the function of this working of this improved rectifier. Now as we know that now let's assume first D1 conducts. So if D1 conducts, this path is closed, so this leads to a feedback loop. So as negative feedback is given, this op amp, the concepts of virtual ground and virtual short can be used. So when this terminal, that is the non-inverting terminal, is grounded, the voltage here is 0 volts. So this is same as the voltage at this particular point, so this voltage is also 0 volts. And as as the current IR1 comes through this path, it cannot enter this because the op amp has a high input impedance. It cannot allow this current, so it has to go in this path. And as D1 conducts, now this current has two paths. One is it can go to the diode or else it can go to the resistor. Now let's assume that it goes to the diode. Now the voltage at this particular point, that is V01, equals 0 minus 0.5 minus 0.7 volt. So that equals V01 equals minus 0.7 volts. Now if we assume that D2 also conducts, then the voltage at this particular node will be equal to V01 minus 0.7 volts, which means minus 0.7 minus 0.7, that equals minus 1.4 volts. So if this voltage at this particular point is minus 1.4 volts and the voltage at this particular point is 0 volts, then the current has to enter this path, and this is grounded, so here the voltage is 0 volts and another current comes from this path. So these two currents according to KCL has to enter this path, but a diode cannot conduct in this particular path. So D2 cannot conduct in this situation, so no current flows through this path or this path. So now the overall circuit is this alone, because this path is broken. So a current, that is IR1, comes through this, it goes through this diode and it goes like this. And what happens to the voltage at this particular node? As you can see here, the voltage is 0 volts and this here it is 0 volts, so definitely the voltage at this particular point has to be 0 volts. So initially we assume that the diode D1 conducts. So now let's figure out when this diode D1 conducts and when this D2 does not conduct. So D1 conducts only when this input voltage is positive. So only when this input voltage is positive, I can say this D1 is forward biased and this conducts. So whenever the input signal goes to the positive half cycle, D1 conducts and D2 does not conduct, and the output voltage is 0 volts. So this is the first case, and as I stated here, D1 is on and V minus and V plus equals 0 volts and V01 equals minus 0.7 volts, and D2 goes off, and IR2, that is this current, that is also that current, and IR both are equal to 0, and V out becomes equals to 0 volts. Okay, now let's look at the second case, that is when the input voltage is negative. Means when the input voltage goes to negative half cycle, let's see what happens. Obviously this diode goes to reverse bias and this does not conduct, and as you can see the voltage at this particular point is 0 volts and as it is grounded. This is 0 and then this is negative, so definitely current has to flow in this particular path. So which means a negative feedback loop is created, and so I can apply virtual ground and virtual short concepts. So this is 0 volt and this is also 0 volts, and this is 0 and this is negative, and I can say a current flows through this, and then if a current has to go through this path, then it has to enter like this. Now current cannot enter in the diode as it does not conduct. Now the current has to come only from this R2. So the current comes. So this is how this loop is closed. So the overall circuit is like this in this case. Now in this case, D1 does not conduct, but D2 conducts. Now let's look at what happens to the output voltage. And as we can see, this is V0, and this is, and the current goes in this particular path, and this is 0. So applying KVL, I can say this V0 will be equal to IR2 into R2. And this IR2, let me make it I2, and this I2 equals, this I2 flows in this particular path, so this I2 will be equal to minus Vi by R1. So therefore this V0 equals minus R2 by R1 into Vi. And the voltage at this particular point, that is V01, equals this V0 plus 0.7 volt, that equals V01. As stated here, V01 equals V0 plus 0.7 volts. So in the earlier rectifier, there was a limitation, that is the op-amp goes to the saturation, and that happens because when input voltage goes to negative, V01 goes to minus Vsat. But in this case, this V01 remains as V0 plus 0.7 volts. So I can say this extra loop, or else I can say this extra negative feedback that is created has given away, has eliminated the chances of making the op-amp going to saturation. So thus this improved half-wave rectifier eliminates the limitation that we have seen in the earlier model. Okay, now let's start with the full wave precision rectifier. In full wave precision rectifier, this rectifier is obtained from a half wave rectifier and a summer. So an inverting half wave rectifier along with an inverting summer rectifies a full wave of an input signal. Now this is a block diagram of a full wave precision rectifier. We'll have an half wave rectifier and also a summer, and then output waveform is shown in this graph, V out versus V in. So let's look at this in detail in the next slide. Now this is circuit diagram for full wave precision rectifier. Here as you can see, this part is a half wave rectifier, right? Okay, and this part is a inverting summer. So when the input signal is fed to an half wave rectifier, the output at this particular point is V01, which is marked here, and then this is multiplied by -2, and then I'm getting VA, and then this input signal which is coming from the voltage source, this is multiplied by -1, and this I'm getting VB. Now this is Vi, and this is going like this, and at last both are summed up, and I'm getting the output. Now let's see how this happens. This point is Vi, this point is Vi, and this point is V01. So if I use the concept of superposition, and if I close this loop, if I ground this particular point, and then this Vi, R and R is an inverting summer, and the formula we know, Va equals minus Rf by R1. Here Rf is R and R1 is R, and I'm getting the output as minus Vi. And when this is grounded and when this is open, this becomes R1 and this becomes Rf, and the output Vb equals minus Rf by Ri into Vi, that is R by 2, and this equals minus 2 times of V01. And we know that V01 equals minus R2 by R1 times of Vi. This we obtained from the earlier case when we are dealing with the half wave rectifier, and this implies this R2 here. This R2 is R1, and this is also R1. We are taking both the resistance the same, and this becomes minus Vi. So plugging this minus Vi here, I can say Vb equals my plus 2 times of Vi. So V naught, which we can obtain only by superposition of these two VA and VB, that equals VA plus VB. So V naught equals minus VI plus 2 times of VA. This sums up as V naught equals VI. So this is the linear portion for rectification. So this is obtained here. So whenever the input signal is negative, I'm getting negative slope of minus R2 by R1, and then whenever this Vi is positive, I'm getting a positive slope of R2 by R1. So this sums up the working of a full wave precision rectifier. Now we are coming to the end of this video. Here is a summary. Initially, with the start of the video, we started with a half wave diode rectifier. Then we said that the voltage drop across the diode became a limitation there. Then we rectified it by using a super diode, and then that half wave rectifier also had a limitation of going into saturation, which we we eliminated in the next improved half wave rectifier circuit. And at last we saw about the full wave rectifier, and which is a combination of half wave rectifier and a summer. So thanks for watching.